The council convenes. The Galactic Council Chamber was a place of order, diplomacy, and stability, a beacon of interstellar unity. Comprising representatives from hundreds of species, it was here that the fates of entire worlds were debated and decided. In recent years, however, a sense of unease had permeated the council. A rising power on the fringes of the galaxy had caught the attention of many, a power that defied conventional wisdom. Earth, a planet long dismissed as a backwater death world, had rapidly ascended to a position of significant influence. The Terrans, as they called themselves, had made a name for their unique blend of audacity, resourcefulness, and raw tenacity. Still, their military capabilities remained a mystery, a point that both intrigued and worried the council members. Today's assembly had one item on the agenda: Earth's application for full membership in the Galactic Council, an unprecedented request for a species with such a short tenure in the galactic community. The chamber was abuzz with whispers and conjectures as the representatives waited for the Terran ambassador to arrive. At the center of the chamber, on a platform that levitated slightly above the floor, stood High Chancellor Visari, a regal figure from the Valorine species, known for their calm and strategic minds. Her eyes, a deep shade of violet, scanned the room, observing the mixture of curiosity, concern, and skepticism that marked the faces of her fellow council members. "Order," she called out, her voice resonating with authority. The murmurs died down instantly, and all attention turned to the center of the room. "The representative from Earth has arrived," Visari announced. A door at the far end of the chamber slid open, and in walked Ambassador Elena Reyes, a tall, poised woman, with an air of quiet confidence. She wore the formal attire of the United Terran Federation, a sleek uniform in navy blue with subtle silver accents, the emblem of Earth proudly displayed on her chest. As Reyes approached the center, all eyes were on her. The Terrans were known for their unpredictability, and many wondered what their representative would reveal today. Visari, ever the diplomat, offered a polite nod to Reyes. "Ambassador Reyes, you stand before the Galactic Council today as the representative of Earth. We understand that your people seek full membership within this body. However, concerns have been raised about your planet's military intentions. We require transparency to ensure peace and stability within the galaxy. Will you address these concerns?" Reyes took a deep breath, her gaze steady. "High Chancellor, esteemed members of the Council, it is an honor to stand before you today. I am here to provide the transparency you seek and to assure you that Earth's intentions are not to threaten but to protect." There was a murmur of interest at this, and Reyes allowed it to settle before continuing. "However, I must be candid. Earth's history is one of conflict, survival, and resilience. We are a species forged in the crucible of adversity. This has shaped our approach to security and defense. I understand that there is fear, but fear often stems from the unknown. It is time we bridge that gap." Visari raised a slender hand. "Ambassador Reyes, what exactly are you proposing?" Reyes smiled, a hint of something enigmatic in her expression. "I propose a demonstration. In 3 days, Earth will hold a military exercise on the planet of Vesta, a desolate world on the edge of our solar system. The exercise will be broadcast live to this council. There, you will witness the true capabilities of the United Terran Federation." The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. A demonstration? Many wondered if this was a bluff or a genuine display of power. Visari, ever the strategist, saw an opportunity. "Very well, Ambassador Reyes," she said, her voice carrying a mix of curiosity and caution. "The Council will observe this exercise. But be warned, if Earth's display is deemed a threat to galactic peace, there will be consequences." Reyes met Visari's gaze with unwavering resolve. "Understood, High Chancellor. We have nothing to hide." With that, Reyes bowed slightly and exited the chamber, leaving the council in a state of anxious anticipation. The next 3 days would be a test not only for Earth, but for the stability of the entire galaxy. As the representatives filed out, Visara remained seated, her mind racing with possibilities. She had dealt with many species over the centuries, but something about the Terrans unsettled her. They were different, dangerous, perhaps. Yet, there was also something about their ambassador, something that spoke of honor and loyalty. She would wait, like the rest of the galaxy, for Earth's revelation. But one thing was certain: whatever the outcome, the galaxy would never be the same again. The calm before the storm. 3 days passed in a tense blur. Across the galaxy, planets and space stations alike buzzed with speculation and rumor. What was Earth hiding? What kind of military might could a single death world possibly possess that would warrant a demonstration on such a grand scale? On the outskirts of the Sol system, Vesta, a small, rocky world devoid of life, had become the focal point of galactic attention. Orbiting the planet were hundreds of ships from various council species, each carrying high-ranking officials, military strategists, and scientists, all eager to witness Earth's display. The Terrans had been curiously quiet in the lead-up to the event. No one had seen any indication of their fleet or military presence near Vesta, leading some to speculate that this was all an elaborate bluff. Others, however, feared that the silence was a sign of something far more ominous. Aboard one of the observation ships, High Chancellor Visari stood with her trusted advisors, her eyes fixed on the barren surface of Vesta through the large viewing window. The calm before the storm, she thought. Her instincts, honed by centuries of political maneuvering, told her that today would be a turning point in galactic history. Chancellor, one of her advisors, a Zarnathian named Kirok, spoke up, his voice tinged with unease. Are we certain this is wise? Allowing the Terrans to demonstrate their military power could embolden them. We still know so little about their true intentions. Visari turned to Kirok, her expression unreadable. Knowledge is power, Kirok. We must understand the Terrans if we are to deal with them. Besides, they have already grown too influential to ignore. If they are indeed as powerful as they claim, it is better to see it for ourselves now than to be caught unprepared later. Kirok nodded, though the unease in his eyes remained. As you say, Chancellor. But still, something about this doesn't feel right. Visari offered a small, reassuring smile. Trust in our preparations, Kirok. The Council is watching closely. If the Terrans pose a threat, we will respond accordingly. At that moment, a chime echoed through the ship, signaling an incoming transmission. The communication officer, a young Valerian named Lyra, turned to the Chancellor. Chancellor Visari, we are receiving a signal from the Terran flagship. The demonstration is about to begin. Visari nodded. Patch it through. The viewing window flickered for a moment before displaying the image of Ambassador Reyes. She was aboard the Terran flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed many of the Council's warships. Her expression was calm, almost serene, as she addressed the gathered observers. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I thank you for your patience. What you are about to witness is a simulation, a controlled exercise designed to showcase Earth's defensive capabilities. I must emphasize that this is not an act of aggression, but a demonstration of our commitment to peace through strength. As Ray spoke, the surface of Vesta began to shimmer with activity. Dozens of Terran ships, previously cloaked, revealed themselves in perfect formation, their sleek, angular designs unlike anything the Council had seen before. There was a collective gasp among the observers as the true scale of the Terran fleet became apparent. For the first phase of this exercise, Reyes continued, we will simulate a planetary invasion scenario. The Terran fleet will demonstrate our ability to repel an overwhelming force using a combination of advanced tactics and technology. At a signal, the simulation began. From the far side of Vesta, holographic images of enemy ships appeared, hundreds of them, representing a formidable invasion force. The Terran fleet moved with precision and coordination that left the observers in awe. The enemy ships, though outnumbering the Terrans 5-1, were systematically neutralized with a combination of overwhelming firepower and innovative strategies. Visari watched, her initial skepticism giving way to a growing respect. The Terrans were not merely warriors, they were masters of warfare. Each maneuver, each calculated strike, was executed with surgical precision. The simulation was so realistic that it was easy to forget it was just an exercise. As the last of the holographic enemy ships were destroyed, Rise spoke again, her voice firm. This concludes the first phase of our demonstration. The next phase will involve a ground assault scenario, where we will showcase our advanced infantry units and ground-based technologies. Visari's eyes narrowed slightly. This was where the true test would come. Space combat was one thing, but ground warfare required a different kind of skill and resilience, especially on a death world like Vesta. The Terran ships began to deploy their dropships, which descended rapidly toward the planet's surface. The observers watched in silence as the dropships landed and Terran infantry units disembarked, quickly establishing defensive positions. What happened next left the Council in stunned silence. The Terran soldiers, clad in advanced exosuits and wielding weapons that emitted energy signatures unlike anything in the Council's arsenal, moved with a fluidity and speed that seemed almost unnatural. They engaged holographic enemy forces with brutal efficiency, using a combination of overwhelming firepower and hand-to-hand combat techniques that were both deadly and elegant. Visari felt a chill run down her spine as she watched. These were not just soldiers, they were warriors, honed by centuries of survival on a world where only the strongest and smartest could thrive. It was clear that the Terrans had not only adapted to their harsh environment, but had turned it into a crucible for creating the perfect military force. As the last of the holographic enemies fell, Rai's voice echoed through the chamber once more. This concludes our demonstration. We hope that this exercise has provided you with a better understanding of Earth's capabilities. We seek not to dominate, but to contribute to the security and stability of the galaxy. The transmission ended, leaving the Council members to process what they had just witnessed. Visari remained silent, her mind racing. The Terrans had shown their hand, but what did it mean for the future of the galaxy? One thing was certain, Earth was not to be underestimated, and the balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted. Unseen threats. In the days following the demonstration, the Galactic Council was abuzz with activity. Debates raged in every corner of the chamber, and even the most isolated worlds were now acutely aware of the power Earth possessed. Some saw the Terran display as a reassurance, a sign that a new ally had emerged to safeguard the galaxy from external threats. Others, however, were deeply unsettled, viewing the Terrans as a potential threat that could disrupt the delicate balance of power. Amid this turmoil, High Chancellor Visari found herself increasingly drawn to private conversations with her closest advisors. One of these meetings, held in a secure chamber deep within the Council's headquarters, would set the stage for the next phase of Earth's revelation. "Chancellor, I'm concerned," Kirok began, his voice low but urgent. "The Terrans may have shown us their military might, but I fear we've only seen a fraction of what they're truly capable of. We must consider the possibility that they are hiding something far more dangerous." Visari, seated at the head of the table, steepled her fingers as she considered his words. "I share your concerns, Kirok. The Terrans are a mystery, and mysteries in politics are dangerous. But we cannot act without evidence. If we provoke them without cause, we could spark the very conflict we seek to avoid." Another advisor, a Franian named Velka, leaned forward. "Perhaps we need to take a different approach. Instead of confronting the Terrans, we could gather intelligence. We have assets within the Sol system, agents who could uncover the truth without drawing attention." Visari nodded slowly. "A prudent course of action. We need to know what we're dealing with. If the Terrans have secrets, we must uncover them before it's too late." The decision was made. A covert operation would be launched to gather intelligence on Earth's true capabilities. As the meeting concluded, Visari could not shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental, something that could change the course of history. Meanwhile, on Earth, Ambassador Reyes was preparing to return to the United Terran Federation's capital. The demonstration had been a success, but she knew that the Council's reaction was only the beginning. There would be scrutiny, questions, and perhaps even fear. She needed to be ready for what was to come. As she boarded the shuttle that would take her to the Terran flagship, Reyes couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The Terrans had revealed their strength, but in doing so, they had also painted a target on their backs. She knew that some in the Council would view Earth as a threat, and that could lead to dangerous consequences. The shuttle ascended through the atmosphere, and Reyes gazed out at the stars, her mind filled with thoughts of what lay ahead. She had faith in her people, but she also knew that the galaxy was a complex and often treacherous place. The Terrans had made their move, but the game was far from over. As the shuttle docked with the flagship, Reyes was greeted by Admiral Thorne, a tall, imposing figure with a reputation for both strategic brilliance and unyielding resolve. Thorne was one of the architects of the demonstration, and he had been closely monitoring the Council's reactions. "Ambassador," Thorne said, his voice a deep rumble. "The demonstration went as planned, but I'm concerned about what comes next. The Council won't take this lightly. We've shown them our strength, but we've also given them a reason to fear us." Reyes nodded. "I know. We need to be prepared for their response. They may seek to undermine us, or even take more aggressive actions. We need to stay one step ahead." Thorne's expression hardened. "Agreed. I've already ordered increased surveillance around Sol. If the Council tries anything, we'll know about it. But we can't just react. We need to anticipate their moves and be ready to counter them." Reyes sighed, feeling the weight of the responsibility on her shoulders. "This is just the beginning, Admiral. The galaxy is watching us, and how we respond will determine our future. We need to be careful, but we also need to show that we won't be intimidated." Thorne placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll be ready, Ambassador. The United Terran Federation has faced challenges before, and we've always come out stronger. This time will be no different." Reyes nodded, drawing strength from Thorne's confidence. The stakes were high, but she knew that Earth had the resolve and the ingenuity to navigate whatever challenges lay ahead. As she walked with Thorne toward the command center, she couldn't help but wonder what the Council was planning, and how far they would go to protect their interests. The unveiling. Weeks passed, and the tension between Earth and the Galactic Council continued to mount. The covert operation authorized by High Chancellor Visari was underway, with agents working tirelessly to uncover any hidden truths about Earth's military capabilities. At the same time, the Terrans had not been idle, bolstering their defenses and maintaining a careful watch on the Council's activities. It was against this backdrop of uncertainty and suspicion that a new development would send shockwaves through the galaxy. On a remote Council world, far from the bustling centers of power, a research station dedicated to advanced technology and weapons development was suddenly attacked. The station, located on the icy moon of Ferax, was a critical asset for the Council, housing some of its most secretive projects. The attackers struck with surgical precision, disabling the station's defenses and seizing control within minutes. The Council was stunned. The attack was unprecedented, and the identity of the perpetrators was unknown. The initial reports pointed to a highly coordinated and well-funded operation, raising fears that a new and dangerous faction had emerged. Visari convened an emergency session of the Council to address the crisis. As the representatives gathered, the atmosphere was tense. Many feared that the attack on Ferax was a prelude to something far more sinister. "High Chancellor," Kirok began, his voice laced with urgency, "this attack is unlike anything we've seen before. Whoever is behind it has access to advanced technology and tactics. We must determine if Earth is involved. Visari nodded gravely. I have already ordered an investigation, but we must tread carefully. If Earth is indeed behind this, it could lead to war. We cannot act without definitive proof. As the Council debated its next steps, news came in that a message had been intercepted from the attackers. It was a single transmission, encrypted with a code that only the Council's highest security clearance could decipher. When the code was finally cracked, the message was simple and chilling. We are the true heirs of the galaxy. Your reign is over. The implications were clear. A new force had emerged, one that sought to challenge the Council's authority and reshape the galaxy. But who were they, and what did they want? As the Council grappled with these questions, Visari's thoughts turned to Earth. The Terrans had shown themselves to be formidable, but she could not believe that they would resort to such tactics. There was something else at play, something that went beyond the Terrans and their military might. Meanwhile, on Earth, Ambassador Reyes was briefed on the attack. She was not surprised to learn that some in the Council suspected Terran involvement, but she knew that Earth had nothing to do with it. The question was who did. Reyes met with Admiral Thorne to discuss the situation. This attack on Ferax is troubling, she said, her brow furrowed. The Council will be looking for someone to blame, and we're an easy target. Thorne nodded. We've already stepped up security across the Sol system, but we need to be proactive. If this new faction is as dangerous as they seem, they could be a threat to us as well. Reyes agreed. We need to gather intelligence, find out who they are and what they want. But we also need to be ready to defend ourselves. If the Council decides to act against us, we'll need to be prepared. Thorne's eyes narrowed. I'll put our best teams on it. We won't be caught off guard. As the Terrans began their own investigation, it became clear that the galaxy was on the brink of a major conflict. The attack on Ferax was just the beginning, and the true extent of the threat remained unknown. But one thing was certain. The days of relative peace in the galaxy were over. As the tension continued to build, Reyes and Thorne knew that the decisions they made in the coming weeks would shape the future of the galaxy. The stakes were higher than ever, and the margin for error was razor-thin. The Reckoning. The final part of the story unfolded with the galaxy teetering on the edge of chaos. The mysterious faction that had attacked Ferax continued to launch strikes against Council assets, each one more brazen than the last. The Council was paralyzed, unsure of how to respond to a threat that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. Earth, meanwhile, had become a focal point of suspicion and fear. Despite the lack of evidence linking the Terrans to the attacks, many in the Council believed that Earth was somehow involved. The accusations grew louder, and the calls for action more urgent. Amid this growing turmoil, Ambassador Reyes received a message from an unexpected source. It was a coded transmission from one of the Council's own agents, who had been working undercover within the mysterious faction. The message contained vital information: the identity of the faction's leaders, their goals, and their ultimate target. Reyes immediately shared the information with Admiral Thorne. This changes everything, she said, her voice tight with urgency. The faction is not just a group of rogue elements. They're a coalition of disaffected Council members and military leaders. They believe the Council has become corrupt and weak, and they intend to overthrow it. Thorne's expression darkened. And they're using the attacks to sow chaos, weaken the Council, and pave the way for their coup. Reyes nodded. But there's more. Their ultimate goal is to seize control of Earth's military technology. They see us as the key to their victory. Thorne's fists clenched. We can't let that happen. If they get their hands on our technology, the entire galaxy will be at their mercy. Reyes agreed. We need to act fast. We have to expose this faction, rally the Council, and protect Earth. The two leaders quickly devised a plan. They would present the evidence to the Council and use it to unmask the faction's leaders. At the same time, they would mobilize Earth's forces to defend against any attempts to seize their technology. The plan was risky, but it was their best chance to avert a galactic war. The day of reckoning arrived. Rise stood before the council, her heart pounding as she prepared to reveal the truth. The council chamber was filled with tension, the air thick with suspicion and fear. Honored council members, Rise began, her voice steady but firm. We have uncovered the identity of the faction responsible for the attacks on Firax and other council assets. They are not an external enemy, but a group of your own. Council members had military leaders who seek to overthrow this body and seize power for themselves. The chamber erupted in chaos. Shouts and accusations flew as the council members struggled to process the shocking revelation. But Rise pressed on. We have evidence that this faction intends to use Earth's military technology to achieve their goals. They see us as the key to their victory, but we will not be used as pawns in their scheme. We stand ready to defend ourselves and the galaxy from this threat. As Ray spoke, Admiral Thorne and the Terran fleet moved into position, ready to respond to any aggression. The faction, realizing their plot had been exposed, attempted to launch a desperate attack on Earth. But the Terrans were prepared. In a fierce battle that played out both in space and on the ground, Earth's forces repelled the attackers with a combination of superior technology, strategy, and sheer determination. The faction's leaders were captured, and their plans to overthrow the council were thwarted. In the aftermath, the council was left to pick up the pieces. The faction's betrayal had exposed deep fractures within the council, and it was clear that reforms were needed to restore trust and stability. But the immediate crisis had been averted, thanks in no small part to Earth's decisive action. As the dust settled, Rise and Thorne stood together on the bridge of the Terran flagship, watching as the council world slowly receded from view. We did it, Thorne said, his voice filled with a mix of relief and exhaustion. We stopped them. Rise nodded, though her expression remained serious. Yes, but the galaxy has changed. The council will never be the same, and neither will we. We've shown our strength, but we've also shown that we're not invincible. We need to be vigilant, to protect not just ourselves, but the entire galaxy. Thorne placed a hand on her shoulder. We will. The United Terran Federation was built on the idea that we're stronger together. Today, we've proven that. But the work is far from over. As the flagship entered hyperspace, Rise allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. The galaxy had faced a great trial, but had also been given a chance for renewal. The future was uncertain, but she knew that Earth would face it with the same resolve and determination that had carried them through countless challenges. For now, at least, the galaxy was safe. But the lessons of the past few weeks would not be forgotten. The Terrans had revealed their true military might, but they had also revealed their true character, one of resilience, unity, and an unwavering commitment to peace. As they sailed through the stars, Rise knew that the United Terran Federation would continue to stand as a beacon of hope and strength in a galaxy that was still finding its way. The end.